Hey everyone. All right, so we are back for part 2 of the June 2020 multiple choice past paper, mathematics, of course. All right, and yeah, we're gonna hit the road right away. If you have not done questions 1 to 30, that is in my previous video, so I will go ahead and remember to leave the description, the link to that video in the description. All right, so here we go. We move to questions 31 to 60. All right, so if you want to start from the front of this past paper, just go ahead and yeah, do that. Question 31 says, given that 1 millimeter equals 1,000, 1/1,000 meters, what is 2,500 milliliters? And that's pretty simple. You just want to go ahead and multiply 1/1,000 times 2,500. All right. So we can just simply reason it out, common sense. 1 millimeter is this, then 2,500 millimeters must be this times 2,500. All right. And it's gonna be 10 into both of those, 10 into both of those, and then 2 into 5 into 10, sorry, those 2 times, and 5 into 25, 5 times. 5/2 is the same as 2.5, which is 2.5. All right, there are quite a number of ways you could have thought about this question. All right, here we go. We have the sector of a circle here, AOB, and the angle AOB is 60 degrees, as you can see. And from O to B, which is the radius, it's only appropriate that we use R for the length of that line there, OB. What is the area of this sector AOB? All right, the area of a circle, we know that the area of a circle is going to be pi r squared, which means the area of a sector is a certain fraction of the total area of the circle. What fraction are we working with right now? Well, we are working with 60 degrees out of the entire circle. So that's 60 degrees out of 360. All right, so you would have known the formula pi over 360 times pi r squared. Sorry, theta over 360. And theta simply represents the angle. All right. Let me get that eraser. Good. So it's just very simple stuff, just simplifying this fraction, because you do notice that all these answers have pi r squared in them. So we're not required to like work out what pi is or anything like that. All right, so here we go. 10 into 60, 10 into 360. All right, and then 6 into itself, 1, 6 into 36, 6. So that's definitely pi r squared over 6. Or 1/6 pi r squared. All right. Number 33, volume, and we have a cube. We know that volume is going to be whatever the length of that, the edge of that cube is, we are just going to cube that answer. So that is going to be 3 times 3 times 3. And all of these are measured in centimeters. All right. So our answers, and our answer is going to be in centimeters cube or cubic centimeters. 3 times 3 times 3 is going to give us 27. Easy stuff. 34, the perimeter of a square is 48 centimeters. If it's a square, then we know that all the sides are equal. before you even know what you're being asked, you start to mull over certain things, and you're saying, all right, you know that if it's a square and the perimeter is 48, each side is going to be 12 centimeters, because I would have divided a 48 perfectly into 4. All right, but we are asked for the area, and we know that area is going to be length times length, which is 12 centimeters, times 12 centimeters, which will give us 144 centimeters squared. Number 35, we are being asked to tell which of these trapeziums or trapezoids has an area that would be this. All right, area of a trapezium is going to be half the sum of the two sides that are parallel times the height. And we have in the question half 5 plus 4 times 2. Already, you can tell that the answer is going to be this one. It's the only one with a height of 2, right? And when you say height, you're talking about the perpendicular height, not the slant height here, right? So, of course, this is going to be it. And the two parallel sides measure 4 and 5. The area of a rectangle is 53.6 centimeters squared. We know that area is equal to length times width. And that is equal to 53.6 centimeters squared. Now it says if the length is multiplied by 4, it means a different ink. And then the width is half, that means divided by 2. Then the area would be, so what do we know about multiplication? Basically, if I multiply the length by 4, it means my total answer here is going to also be multiplied by 4. All right. And then after I do that, I am multiplying, I'm dividing whatever I get by 2. So I have this answer. I'm multiplying it by 4, and then I'm dividing that result by 2. Hello. All right. And so when you do your workings, of course, your answer is going to work out to 107.2. The shortcut, instead of multiplying by 4 first and then divided by 2, once you have this set out, you can just simply say 2 into 4 goes 2 times. Multiplying 53.6 times 2, we're going to get 2 5s 10, right? And work on your multiplication skills so you can follow me when I pause and do this. All right, is the length of the minor arc, PQ. We have the sector of a circle again, center O, and the angle there is going to be 60 degrees. And it says if the length of the minor arc, PQ, is 8 centimeters, what is the length of the circumference of the circle? So there are two things here being compared. We have two things here that we can compare. We have the angle and we have length. For the arc, for this particular arc, PQ, the minor arc, the angle is 60 degrees and the length is 8 centimeters, right? But of course, you're asked for the circumference, which means we need for the entire circle. What is the angle that we know for the entire circle? 360 degrees. And the length is what we don't know. All right. So you can go ahead and do the cross products and make them equal because, of course, these are ratios. But you can also just make a simple observation. 6 times 6 gives you 360. 60 times 6 gives you 360. So you can do the same thing here. 8 times 6 will give you this answer. X equals 48 centimeters. All right. When I mentioned the cross products, we were saying if you write down the ratios, angle versus length, this is for the arc, and then this is for the entire circle. You go ahead and do your cross products. 6 to x equals 8 times 0, 0, 8 times 6. It's going to be 48. 3 is 24, to 8, dividing both sides by 60. Oops, 6x. We would have gotten our 48 centimeters just the same. All right, the area of a triangle is 30 centimeters squared. As soon as you hear that and you realize the terms base and height are also in the question, you start to write down, what do you know about finding area? The formula is half times base times height. All right, the area of a triangle is 30 centimeters. Its base is 10. What is the height? That's what we're being asked. So you put in area is 30, base is 10, height we don't know. 2 into 10, 5. So this side works out to 5h equals 30. You don't stop solving until you have h clearly. All right. So h is going to be equal to 6 centimeters. That's it. All right. This histogram shows the number of children of ages 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 who took part in a survey. And we are asked what is the modal age, meaning, and we know that mode means the number that occurs the most. So we're looking for the age that occurs the most. And as we can see here, the age that has the highest bar is the age 7. All right. Please don't be tempted to say the modal age is 5. No. 5 represented a number of children. And so if we're asked for age, we need to look for age 7. All right, for this one, we have a cumulative frequency curve based on the marks of 200 students who took a driving test. We are asked, 1, the median mark scored by 200 students. Again, median marks, that means we're looking for something here, right? But to help us find the median mark, we're going to look at the fact that we need to go halfway between the 200 students, which is 100 right here. Oops. All right, there we go with a pen. 100. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go straight across from that 100th student. And we touch the curve and then make our way down. All right. We make our way down to see which mark that this coincides with. And that is going to be, as you can see, it's approximately 35 right here. And then this is about 37.5. And there's our answer right there. All right. You can, well, I could have, oops. Good. All right. What is the interquartile range of the marks scored by the 200 students? All right, to find interquartile range, it's going to be Q3 minus Q1, where Q3 is the median for this portion of the graph. All right. So we're going to look for the median mark on this side. All right, so between 100 and 200, the middle mark would be 150. Let me hope that my pen here will work with me. All right, and then of course, you're gonna also come down again. Oops. All right, to find that median mark. And then you're gonna do the same thing, and that's gonna come down to about 42.5. It is not quite 43, all right? And you can use your pencil just to run across the screen and just to note, you know, just to see that more accurately. And then for Q1, that's our median on this side of the blue mark. All right. 60 is right here. I hope you see where 50 from when it comes to finding median. All right, so between 0 and this 100 mark here, we're gonna, All right, and when you go across, you're gonna see that you can do this a little more accurate than I can right now. All right, it's going to touch the graph at about good, that is much better. All right, when you go down now to touch the median, to find the mark, it's going to be 29. And of course, 42.5 minus 29 is going to give us 12.5. Let's say you weren't too accurate in drawing your lines. You're going to get something extremely close to 12.5 anyway. So you're going to realize that it is the correct answer. All right. And then 42 says, if 38% of the students pass the test, then what was the pass mark? All right, so 38% of the students passed the test. Here we go. 38% of the 200 students. That's gonna be easy peasy. 76 students passed the test. All right, the number of students clearly is on the left side here of our graph. 76 students passed, which means 76 of the top students here. All right. 76, 200 minus 76 is going to be 124. So this bottom portion here failed. All right, which means the pass mark is right here. So all you need to do is draw a cross on your graph, and wherever it touches it, you go straight down. You're going to realize that the pass mark was 40. 43. This is a frequency table showing scores obtained by students in a test. The student either got 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, or 10. We're asked to find the range of the scores. And range is simply subtracting the highest score minus the lowest score. All right, so that's 10 minus 2, simply 8. Number 44, it says, so we have some information here. Students traveling to school, 200 students. The mode of transportation that they took on that particular day. So we have, for example, 28 males walked, 16 females took a taxi. All right. So you start making observations. It says a male student is picked at random from the group. What is the probability that he does not walk to school on that day? Male student picked from the group. What is the probability that he does not walk? Walking right here is 28. Right? 28 males walked. So the number of males who did not walk would have been 80, the males who took bus and taxi. So we pick a male. The male did not walk to school. All right, so we have 80 out of, it says the male was picked from the group. And the entire group is 200 students. So, and once we simplify this, we will get 2/5. All right, you can simplify it by saying 40 into both numbers, or take your time, 10 into both numbers, and then 4 into 8, 2, 4 into 25. Number 44, which of the following represents the graph of a function? Oops, all right. Represents the graph of a function, and we're going to use what is called the vertical line test. The vertical line test says if you should draw a vertical line through the graph at any point on the graph, let me just a second. All right, it should only cut through the graph once. So here we go. Let's try diagram A. At any point through this graph that I draw a vertical line, I realize that it only cuts it once. All right, good. So that one stands a chance. Let's see why the others would not be the graph of a function. Here, vertical line, it only cuts it once, but what about right here? It is going through many points on that graph. All right. Same thing happens here. These parts are okay, but if I draw a vertical line here, then it's going through more than 1 point on the graph. Same thing here. It's actually the worst one out of the rest, out of the others. All right. So A, using the vertical line test, represents a graphical function. Number 46. F of x, we're given the formula for that, given the function f of x, and we should find what f of -3 is. So that's 2. Anywhere we see x, we're going to put -3. So 2 times -3 squared minus 1. We must square the -3 first before multiplying the answer by 2. All right, so that's 18 minus 1. Done. Number 47, the straight line AB cuts the y-axis. Here's the y-axis. It cuts it where? At the point 0, -2. All right. Yeah, that's it. The equation of the line which passes through the point 0, 5 has a gradient of. To write the equation of a line, and has a gradient of 4. What is the equation of the line? This is the general equation of a line. And M means gradient, C means y-intercept. We know the gradient is 4, so that's 4x. And C, which is that point, the y-intercept meaning where it passes through the y-axis. And 0, 5 would have been the point where it passes through the y-axis. Once you see the x value being 0, the 5 is where it passes through the y-axis. So yeah, put in the gradient and the y-intercept, and there you have your equation of the line, which is what we were asked for. All right. The range of this function here, f of x maps to x cubed for this domain. So we're given the x values, and we're supposed to find the y values, the range. All right, which means that for every value of x, we're going to substitute it into this function to find out which values of y will match it. So -2, if I cube it, I get 8. If I cube -1, I get -1. If I cube 0, I get 0. So I need to do it for all the elements. If I cube 1, I get 1. And if I cube 2, I get 8. So these are the range, the elements for the range. See them here. Oh, this was -8. I don't know if I said it and didn't write it, but that would have been -8. All right, here we go. The values of x for which y equals 4x minus x squared. In other words, the values of x for which that function and so that graph, which is what we're looking at here, and y equals 0 intersect. That says where this curve intersects y equals 0, and you should know that y equals 0 means the x-axis. So the point where that graph intersects the x-axis, what are those two x values? That is what we're asked for, the values of x where that happens. And that is at 0 and 4. Very straightforward. All right, same graph. It says the coordinates of the turning point of y equals 4x minus x squared. And so that's the graph we have here. Turning point, simply where the graph turns. All right, what are the coordinates right there? As you can see, 2, 4. Which of the following pairs of lines is perpendicular? When two lines are perpendicular, we know that their gradients, one gradient is the negative reciprocal of the other. Meaning if one gradient is 2 over 1, the other gradient is going to be negative of that, and you reciprocate. All right, so let's go. What is the gradient? All right, this one is out. We can see that the gradients are the same. And let's bear in mind, let's recall that the general equation of a line looks like that. So we're given the equations of two lines, and we know that we should check to see which one of these have gradients that are, that if we multiply them, we get -1, or the gradients are the negative reciprocals of each other. This one out a long time. All right, let's go, which means we must try to write these lines with y being on one side of the equation. So for this one, dividing everything by 2, dividing the entire equation by 2, you get y equals -3 over 2x minus 8 over 2, which is 4. All right. And for this equation, we are trying to make y the subject, remember that. So here we go. Dividing, all right, let's go ahead and put -2y, the y term, on just one side of the equation. All right, I want to take my time with you. All right, so let's go ahead and move this 3x. That would be subtracting 3x from both sides. So -3x equals, sorry, -8. All right, dividing both sides by -2. So y would be equal to 3 over 2x plus 4. Looking at the gradients, which should be right in front of x, the gradient for the first one is -3 over 2. The gradient for this one is 3 over 2. No, those are not the negative reciprocal of each other. Those are negative of each other, but not reciprocal. Here we go. This one is already in the correct form. We can see that the gradient is -4. For this one, let's divide throughout by 4 because we want to get rid of that 4 from it. We want y by itself. Divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. All right, so now this equation looks like y equals x over 4, or 1 over 4x plus a quarter. All right, are these two numbers the negative reciprocals of each other? And we can go ahead and say yes, they are. -4 is the same as -4 over 1. The negative of that would be a positive number, and we reciprocate. Yeah, right. So that tells us that they are perpendicular. Here, transformation, we have PQR mapping onto P prime, Q prime, R prime. All right, what is happening? We can clearly see that these images perfectly reflect each other. That's a reflection. 54, we are supposed to find the value of x. It's an isosceles triangle, meaning that these two angles here are equal, because as you can see, these two sides are equal. So this is 30 and this is 30, and all the angles in the triangle add up to 180 degrees, then we need to subtract those two angles from 180 degrees in order to get our answer of 120 degrees. And here, lines and angles again, we have a transversal cutting the lines A, B, and C, D. What is the relationship between angle X and Y? And these are alternate angles. And so we know that alternate angles are equal. X should be equal to Y. Number 56, these triangles are similar, meaning that the ratios of their sides are equal. No, even if they didn't tell you it's similar, you can see it because the angles inside the triangles are the same. All right. And so we are told to find MO. We have the side that's matching MO right here. So all we need to do is see if we can find two sides to compare. Here we go. AB in relation to MN. In the same way that AB is related to MN, AC is related in the same way to MO. All right. So in other words, we can say using the ratio 6:3, it should also be equal to the ratio 7:MO, which we don't know. All right. You can simply do this. 6 divided by 3, because the ratios are equal, right? What can you do to 6 to get 3? Let's divide by 2. And so you can do the same thing to 7 to get MO. And that is divided by 2. 7 divided by 2 gives you 3.5. Otherwise, you could have gone and written up the ratios, right? And you do the cross products because cross products of equal ratios are also equal. 6MO is equal to 21. Divide both sides by 21 and by 6, and you would have had your answer. Number 57, the image of a point. All right. Under translation P prime, what is the translation vector? All right, good. So you have the point P1, 2. So we're going to go ahead and write these in vector form. And that was added to a certain vector to give us -5, -4. So clearly we can do this, subtract this vector from both sides. All right, and that is what will happen. Now we can get to find the translation vector that's represented by xy. -5 minus 1, that's -6. So we can already kind of see which one our answer looks like. -4 minus 2, -6. All right, so A is our answer. Number 58, we're still in transformation. We have the triangles here. The line OAA prime, OBB prime, OCC prime. Those are all straight lines. And it says that triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. What is the scale factor of enlargement? Meaning, which number can we multiply the length of, let's say, AC by? Which number can we multiply AC by to get A prime, C prime? Or which number can we multiply CB by to get C prime, B prime? We can literally observe the diagram, right? AC, if we have AC, which is 2 units, and A prime, C prime is 4 units, we can tell that the entire thing was multiplied, the length was multiplied by 2. There is your answer. And if you tested any of the other lines like CB, which is 1 unit, but C prime, B prime is 2 units. You realize that? So multiplied by 2. All right. So that is the scale factor of enlargement. If you were doing a paper 2 question, fine, and you are showing how to find the scale factor, then you say scale factor equals. You pick a pair of lines and you divide the image, let's say prime, B prime, by the object. all right, which would be 2 over 1, which will still give you 2. So even if you did A prime C prime divided by AC, you would get your 2. That is how you find scale factor of enlargement. All right. A plane is flying in a direction of, and we're given the bearing there. So you want to start a little sketch. Which is my north line. 45 degrees is somewhere there. All right. The plane is flying in that direction and it changes course. So this 45 degrees, that's half of the 90 that's here, just making that clear. So this is spot 0, 4, 5. And it changes course in a clockwise direction to 135 degrees. And it's, all right, here we go. This is the 90-degree line, which means if I add 45 to that, that's how I get to 135. All right. And we are being now asked, so all of this is 135. And we're now being asked, what is the angle through which the plane turns? What is the angle? Which means we want this angle right here. All right. This looks a little tacky, so good. And that's going to be pretty easy because we know that right here is 45 degrees, right here is 45 degrees. That's a combination of 90 degrees. Yeah, pretty much that, if you were to visualize it. And finally, number 60, we have the angle of depression on this diagram to be 30 degrees. Angle of depression of X from Z. All right, from Z, the angle of depression of X is 30. And we know that this is also 30 based on the fact that these are alternate angles. All right, but we should find the height of YZ right here. All right, so we know this 30 degrees. We want this side and we have this side. This is 30 degrees, then ZY, if we're focusing on the 30 degrees, then ZY is seen as the opposite side of the triangle. And we already have the alternate side. So we're going to use the tan theta ratio, which says tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So that's tan 30 degrees is equal to opposite side, YZ, over adjacent, which is XY, which is 10. All right. We want YZ, so we're going to get rid of this 10 here. So multiply both sides by 10, multiply that side by 10. YZ is going to be equal to 10 times tan 30. And there we have it. The answer is A. All right, and that is it. So we'll move to the next past paper now. Remember that 2019, I would have already done it last year. So I'm just going to tag that link. And that one was done in a lot of parts because we were doing the 3-a-day challenge with multiple choice questions. So after that, we will move to the 2018 paper. All right, have a good one, and I'll see you in our next video.